And welcome back, everybody, to episode 210 of Two Goalies, One Mic. Brought to you, of course, by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from. If you need a beer, please make sure you make it a Fatty beer. My favorite is the mango wheat that they have on tap there. It's absolutely incredible. Please try it out and let them know Two Goalies, One Mic sent you. And as always, Impulse Physical Therapy of Depew and Western New York, located on Broadway in the plaza, directly next to Catalyst Fitness near DNL, the DNL Tops Plaza on Broadway. Address 5087 Broadway, Suite 100. If you need physical therapy done because of a work-related injury, sports-related injury, whatever it might be, get over to Impulse. Their facilities are 5-star, in my opinion. Or if you're an athlete, you need physical testing done. They do that there as well. Again, I couldn't stress it enough. Check them out at Impulse Physical Therapy, Western New York, on Broadway. And our newest sponsor, Extreme Discount Mattress, located again on Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga. Unbelievable savings, up to 80% off everyday low prices, which are already 1/3 to half the price of their competitors' so-called sales prices. Choose from floor models, one-of-the-kind closeouts, and discounted models. You'll find premium mattresses for penny on the dollar with no phony markup to markdown gimmicks. They are located again at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga, so you can go to see for yourself. Open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5. Oh, and if you happen to be just shopping on a Sunday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Extreme Discount Mattress. Hurls, I know we spoke a lot about things we're going to talk about last night, but the only real news coming out of Saberland, I guess, is UPL is heading to Rochester for a conditioning stint. How long do you think something like that might last? Like, do you think he's back in time for the Toronto home and home? Like, is that long enough considering the guy hasn't played in a full game since last year?
No, it's probably not long enough. I would imagine it's at least a week. You probably have to play a game, maybe even 2, to make sure that whatever the injury was, lower body in nature, we presume was healthy enough to get through a professional hockey game. Because I think when he came back after he thought he was ready last time in preseason, he re-aggravated it. So there had to be enough PT, there had to be enough recovery time, strength training to get him to the point where he's comfortable playing a full game, getting through that, and getting cleared by the doctors, as we've seen, which is not always a guarantee that that person is going to be healthy after getting cleared by the doctors. Cough, cough, John Norris. So hopefully Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is completely healthy. Obviously, there's concern given his history. He had a double hip replacement surgery, I think, before the age of 23. So that's not ideal for a goalie. I can say that as a 33-year-old goalie whose hips hurt after every single time he plays now.
Yeah.
Not a good thing to have in your arsenal or your physical history. But I do think that they're probably being cautious, as the Bills are with a lot of their injuries. I think the Sabres have been in the past. And hopefully that means he's back to full strength within the next week and a half. But I don't think it'll be before the weekend.
No, I don't think so either. And we speculated on what the go-to will be once that back-to-back gets here. And I truly believe, just like you said, I think that might be a situation, because they have had success with it in the past, where they call up Devin Levi.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially if this week goes the way it likely will, with Lyon getting the game tomorrow night against his former team, Lyon getting the game Friday night against the Maple Leafs, which I saw an interesting post today, actually, from Joe DiBiase. He said there may be the least amount of Toronto Maple Leafs fans in the building Friday night for 2 reasons. Can you name those 2 reasons?
The Blue Jays game?
The Blue Jays game, and then also...
I'm lost on that one.
Well, he didn't say the other reason, but I'm saying the other reason.
What's that?
The politics, the international relations between U.S. and Canada. And that's an actual thing. A lot of people have pointed out that tourism has decreased in the past year, obviously with what's going on with Trump in office, saying it's the 51st state, all of that. So Canadians, specifically out here, actually, Palm Springs was a very popular destination for Canadian tourists, and their tourism from Canadian citizens specifically has gone down like over 50% in the past 9 months. So I wouldn't be surprised if less Toronto fans are, you would think, like a Friday night game, beginning of the season. They probably haven't had the chance to go to too many Maple Leafs games because prices are through the roof, would want to come down and see their team in Buffalo. But I do think the combination of the Blue Jays and also the international relation aspect of it, there's going to be way less Maple Leafs fans than normal on Friday night.
And then the Saturday night game too, being like, I'm not sure, and I've been to Toronto, and I'm not sure familiar with like how close like both the arena is to the stadium. But you have to imagine there might be some flexibility from the NHL side of things, where given that it's a Saturday game, like I'm assuming it starts at 7 or 7:30, that they might move that game up.
So yeah, so that would be, it's a 7:00 Eastern start for Sabres Maple Leafs Saturday night, and I think it's an 8:00 Eastern start for Dodgers. That would be for Dodgers Blue Jays on Saturday night. So they start within an hour of each other, which I mean, no, they are close to each other. I know that for sure. Rogers Center, and I guess it would be Rogers Place now. I forget what it's called. It's not Scotiabank anymore. Either way,
is it not Scotiabank?
It could be Scotiabank. I'm not sure.
I think it might be Scotiabank still.
Yeah, I thought they changed the sponsorship. Either way, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they moved it up a little bit. I'd be thankful for that because I want to watch the Jays.
Well, yeah, we all want to watch the Blue Jays. Try
and it would be smart if the two of those leagues work together and be like, hey, nothing going on at the Leafs arena beforehand. Well, that may be tough though because they play the night before.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, I wonder if that might affect, because a lot of Leafs fans do come down to the States, to see them play in our arena because of the ticket prices up there. I wonder if with the Blue Jays playing that same night, like I wonder if that might affect ticket prices in Toronto.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So they'll probably go down, right? Like it's not as appealing of a game.
You have to imagine, right? Like,
yeah, this is the first time the Jays have been in the World Series since 1993. So yeah, I would imagine that it probably would go down if I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, because I even consider I have time to spare. If the price is right, I might even consider trying to do both. I've never been to a game in Toronto.
I would love to.
I've been to a Jays Red Sox game in Toronto. I've been to the Hockey Hall of Fame, but I've never gone to just not even just a Sabres game, just a Leafs game in Toronto, which I hear is just an incredible experience if you're a hockey fan, just in general.
Yeah, no, I would love to myself. I'm going there in November, weekend before Thanksgiving, for a wedding. Unfortunately, they won't be playing, but I was planning on it if no matter who they were playing, just because it seems, aside from the corporate nature of the 100 level, it seems like the 200 and 300 level are obviously passionate hockey fans who really know the sport really well. And that applies to Montreal as well. And that's a top destination for me to watch a game in, but they're out of town.
Like 300 level, when I looked the other day, I think tickets were like in the nosebleeds, $120 a piece. I'm not sure if that's American, if that's Canadian. I know the American dollar's worth more there, so I'm not sure how that all works out. I can't do math, so but still, it's something I'm still gonna think about for the weekend, because it would be fun to go to both games, no doubt. Especially given how amped up that entire city is gonna be.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. Hockey will always be number one in Canada, but given the way the Jays have played in the past, honestly, 3-4 months to get into first place in the AFC East and then to beat the Yankees and to beat the Mariners, a team that's never been to the World Series in Game 7 like they did with George Springer, it's going to be an electric atmosphere at Rogers Center this weekend.
That home run, I've probably watched that replay 50 times a day. It's been everywhere.
So sick, and such a big moment, and obviously means a lot to a fan base that you can tell is really passionate. Obviously, it's Canada. It's not just Toronto's team; it's Canada's team. And even being a Bison's fan and following the Bison's minor leagues, like it means a lot to the metropolitan area of Toronto, which if you expand it a little bit, that includes obviously Hamilton and Mississauga and Burlington, but also Buffalo. So I think it's really cool for the region, and against a team in the LA Dodgers, which are, I don't know what the odds are, but I imagine they're at least a -300 favorite to win with the best baseball player of all time. So yeah, it's going to be cool. I mean, game ends early. Maybe some of the Sabres players can pop on over, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that everybody's, especially if you're from the States, like you probably support some other team that's not the Blue Jays, but still, just to go to a World Series game would be fucking incredible.
I'm trying to go next week when it's out here. I went in 2018 to see the Red Sox clinch in 5 games in LA. And we were in the parking lot before the game. We were on StubHub waiting for tickets to go down. Nothing was below 300. We kept refreshing. Guy comes up to us. He's like, just go to the box office. They have standing room only for $220. And we grabbed standing room tickets, and we're above home plate in center field at the top of the arena. But it was one of the best views I've ever had, and got to see the Red Sox win the World Series in person. So that was one of the cooler sports experiences I've ever had. Can try to do it again.
That's sick, man. I've never, again, I've been to plenty of baseball games in my life. Never been to a playoff game, but I mean, I'll say it was the year of the Boston Marathon bombing when I went to a Reds, like the end of one series and the start of another, and they came back from being down like 7-2 to win on a walk-off by Daniel Nava. And I'll say this, you would have thought they won a playoff game or clinched the playoff series, because it was like that place, like all of Fenway Park was shaking. Like baseball, if you go to a game where there's a passionate fan base and it's a full house, like it really is a different experience.
Yeah, and to transition back to the Sabres here, I tweeted the video of George Springer hitting that home run, and the caption was, "This is what I imagine Quebec Center would sound like if the Sabres ever had a home playoff game again, and they scored a go-ahead goal late in the third period of a playoff game." That's the type of atmosphere it would be, and that's the type of reaction, response, passion. Lindy said it the other night, Sabres hockey, it's passion. Obviously, the fans have that, and you saw how excited everybody was after a 2-game win streak. Mm-hmm. So you could only imagine if they got back, what it would be like, and the party in the plaza. And we've talked about it many times, but
no doubt,
I envision it would be something like we saw in Toronto last night.
And yeah, I mean, you don't even have to say you have to imagine how you'd feel. Like, just you know that's what it would be like,
because that's what it was. And now in like
fun.
The age of social media, like you've got an entirely new generation that hasn't experienced any of that success, that has an entirely different way of consuming sports and consuming content, and the social media that would come out of that type of thing, the stuff that we do, the possibilities are endless, obviously. And it would just, of course, it would be as exciting as it was when the Bills got good again after 17 years of missing the playoffs, and how great that's been, and the relevancy and the promotion that's come along with that. 4 of their first 6 games were in primetime. One of the Sabres have had that. When have they had that type of exposure? It's been a long time since the days of the Outdoor Life Network, I would say. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's in Versus and good old Doc Emmerich. So, yeah, it's been a while, but
you see in January they're doing a night dedicated to the 05-06 team.
I saw that.
That looks sick.
Prompted Ron Miller tweeted Sabres game Thursday night, catwalk Friday night, and then hopefully the Bills will be playing a home game on January 18th. So
yeah,
I might,
dude, those guys will be.
I might be back for that.
Those guys will be in one. Let me tell you.
Oh, I would be if that's the week. If that's the weekend that's planned. If the Bills are hosting, I guess that would be the wild card round, I imagine, or that might be the division series. Let's say the Bills are hosting the Chiefs somehow. Oh boy.
Dude, like,
I mean,
I'll tell you right now, if Derek Roy and Tim Connolly are both attending, they might have to shut down all of Chippewa.
I'll be there.
Like
I'll be right behind them. I actually maybe not on Chippewa. I think I'm
I'm too old and I'm not famous enough to go to Chippewa, but I don't know.
Oh God. Those guys will be in their glory, man. The good old days, back when the team gave you something to be proud of.
Hopefully, the Sabres are still in it on January 15th or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, again, to get back to the game. Well, first off, just like I'm personally, I know we have Detroit, and between now and then, but I'm so looking forward to hopefully the start of reigniting a rivalry. The QEW rivalry, like something I took very seriously as a fan growing up. My hatred for the Toronto Maple Leafs, it runs deep, and I genuinely hope that maybe this is the start of, because I can't tell you the last time there was a home and home series with Toronto, especially this early in the season. Maybe if somebody in the chat can find out for us, but it was, this is a rivalry I've been waiting to be relevant again for a long time. I thought for a minute we had it with Jack Eichel when he, when he trolled the fans after scoring a big goal against them, when he's telling them to sit down. Didn't happen, but maybe this is the team. I don't know. Hopefully, I love what we've seen from a culture perspective, in the past 3 games, like how it's slowly started to shift in the positive direction. But that being said, that loss to Toronto, that did hurt a little bit. But it definitely didn't feel like the first 3 games of the season, where you can tell like there were times where you even questioned whether they wanted to be on the ice or not.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at the all-time distribution of Sabres and Leafs games, and it doesn't look like they've had games on back-to-back days in a long time. You're right.
It's been a long time.
At least the past 5 years, not since 2021, and that's all the data it's giving me at the moment. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's old school. I would love if they continued to wear their whites at home, and went vice versa, both teams. I think that was very specific to the Sens thirds the other night, but I would love that type of thing. Really lean into the history of these two franchises. I mean, I think a lot of NFL teams are doing that. You saw with the Bills Falcons a couple weeks ago with those 2 throwback uniforms. I think they should do that as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, Leafs aren't necessarily off to the greatest start. They're down 4-2 after 2 against the Devils at the moment. I think losing Mitch Marner is probably going to affect them, at least in the regular season, more than they probably thought. Maybe they tried to plan for that, adding Matthias Michelli. He scored tonight, but yeah, they're probably not going to be as good in the regular season as they were in years past. And hopefully, I think they think that might translate to the postseason. Probably not. But yeah, they're 3-2-1, 3-1-1 at home, so they haven't been too good on the road. But not nearly as fearsome of a group as they were with Mitch Marner. And I think their forward group is generally not as deep as it once was.
Like Matthew Nyes, there's a lot bigger expectations of him this season, in hopes that like he could, continue to build off last year and have a much bigger season. Again, especially without
off to a good start.
Off to a very good start. Stolarz had some very colorful comments for the team, which was awesome. I love that one comment. Like for the other goalie, was just like playing catch in the yard. You saw everything. Just I love that though. I know Austin Matthews said they had like a players only meeting or whatever to address everything, and they left it at that. But like again, the fact that they're having a players only meeting like 6 games into the season is not good.
Yeah, I mean they signed Michelli to be in their top 6, and he's got 2 points in 7 games. Nylander, gosh, before this game he had 2 goals and 9 assists in 6 games, which is insane. 9 assists in 6 games is out of this world. And Matthews, 4 goals, but off to a bit of a slow start himself. But the Leafs are the Leafs. I think we have a general idea of what that team's going to be at this point. I think their goaltending, as long as Stolarz can stay healthy, he's their best goalie that they've had in a long time. But I still don't. I think they know that they had their opportunity to potentially get at least to a cup final within the past 5 years. With the core 4, the core 3, the big 3, whatever, and they weren't able to do it. So that's tough. And who knows? Sometimes the post-hype run can be better than all the expectations, but there's always going to be expectations in Toronto. So I guess that doesn't really matter from that perspective. But tomorrow night, it's I'm a bit surprised the Wings are as off to a hot of a start as they are. Hopefully both the Wings and the Red Wings don't pass the Sabres in their rebuilds in recent years. That would be super depressing, along with the Senators. And obviously they're having a tough year last year, but they at least made the playoffs. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes tomorrow night, if they are as good as they've looked thus far.
Yeah, I agree. And having said that, we talk about slow starts. Rasmus Dahlin, Tage Thompson, and Alex Tuch are all three of them, three guys that are going to be heavily leaned on this season to end this playoff drought. All three are relatively off to slow starts if you look at the score sheet. I would tend to agree, yes. From a scoring goals perspective, I think for Tage, I think he expects more of himself. I think he has one goal in the first, was it 6 games?
I mean, yeah, two goals between the three of them in 6 games is not good enough.
Oh, wait. So Tage has 2 goals?
No. There's 2 goals
between him and Tuch.
Tage has 1, Tuch has 1, Dahlin doesn't have any. So it's 2 goals between all 3 guys in 6 games, which I think all of them would say that they need to start putting the puck in the net. I mean, Dahlin less so, because that's not his main source of shot creation and output. Like, he obviously runs the quarterback on the power play. Assists are going to be his main thing. He's got 5 assists in 6 games, which is good. But I think he himself wants to be scoring goals if possible and creating chances off the rush. I mean, he had 17 last year and 20 the year before. So obviously, and he's had double digits the past 4 seasons. So I think he expects more from himself, and he's had chances. I mean, I think he's got how many shots in 4 games? He's got 19 shots in 6 games. So that's pretty good as far as he's concerned. And he's also gotten to the net a little bit, but I think we're going to start to see some more finish from all 3 of them coming up pretty soon.
I mean, I hope so. And again, it's not just on them too. Like, you have a bottom 6 that just, I know Kozak had a goal last night, and that's nice and everything, but realistically, like, they just haven't been existent. That line, that Krebs center, was it Krebs, Quinn, and who?
And Zucker.
And Zucker. That's just not good enough.
That
can't be a line. Like, it just can't be. Like, and we talk about Tage possibly moving back to center. What does Lindy have to do to get these 3 going? Because I think the easy answer we talked about last night would be moving Tage back to center, giving you some more depth. I know Kulich has looked good in that top line role. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's much more important to get Tage going than it is to keep Kulich going. I think if you surround Kulich with, like, Zucker and whomever that other guy might be, I think you're doing fine. I'd like them to keep that McLeod, Tuch, and Doan line together, but, like, who fills in that other role opposite side of Benson? Do they put Tuch there? I don't know.
I think Doan has proven he should be in a top 6 role.
No doubt.
With the type of play he's had, especially in the past 3 games, past 4 games. I think he is worthy of getting a shot on the top line with Tage. With the obviously, people can think whatever they want about analytics, but when you go into expected goals for percentage, which is basically weighing everything, he has by far the most on the team, 67%. And then after him are Tyson Kozak and Zach Benson. So obviously Benson has had a ton of assists, of course, but he's creating turnovers. He's getting the puck to the right area. He's doing so much in so many different ways to create scoring chances in the offensive zone. And he's also been responsible defensively, which also reflects that. But Josh Doan, I think, deserves a shot on that top line with Tage, whether that's Kulich, Tage, and Doan. You move Tage to center and you put Tuch up there, and Doan, Tage, and Tuch, whatever you need to do. I think it's also pretty clear that McLeod is a bit over his britches as a second line center. He's
not ready for that role.
Yeah, really thrived as a third line center last year. But I think second line currently in his career, with all the responsibility that comes with it and the type of player he is, might be a bit too much. So that would make putting Tage at center potentially even more prudent, and moving Kulich down or whatever you need to do. I think they got to try Ostlund tomorrow night, given they only gave like 7 minutes to Josh Dunn and Mason Gearston. So I think he probably slots in somewhere. But yeah, I think you lean into what they have an analytics department, and hopefully their line combinations reflect that. But Josh Doan and Zach Benson, no doubt about it, in your top 6. And I think obviously moving Tage to center would give you more depth up and down the lineup.
Yeah, I agree. Like, he was 94 points at center. Like, the thought that
and he played most of the season on wing last year, and he still had 44 goals. So like, he can do it. Like, he can produce from both. I think it's just like, especially given that Norris got injured, I think it makes most sense for him to be a center at this point. Still there?
Sorry, I thought I lost you there for a second. My phone started going haywire here. Sorry. I had to mute my mic because it just started going off. I'm sorry, I didn't follow that last.
Yeah, so basically that, like, he scored 44 goals primarily as a wing last season. Like, he can score from the wing. Of course he can, in the right situation and the right line mates. But given the injury to Norris and however long he's going to be out, whatever a significant amount of time means, getting depth up and down your lineup and taking McLeod out of a role that he might not be suited for at this current moment. Like, his expected goal percentage is 52.53, which is like not horrible, but not amazing, especially not as good as it was last year. So moving him down, giving him less responsibility and a better matchup offensively, while also having the ability to switch up your wings in the top 6 and get Doan in there, I think is a good idea for them. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Lindy can be stubborn. So we'll see what the lines look like.
I genuinely hope we just do see Noah Ostlund, and they're not gonna have Patrick Kane tomorrow night either. He didn't make the trip, so I imagine Patrick Kane, well-known Sabre killer. Good thing we don't have to deal with him. Jack Quinn, like, how do you get that guy going? We've seen flashes. We saw the nice forehand to backhand goal when he got behind the defense the other night, but I mean, again, a guy you really need to lean heavily on this season to take those steps, stay healthy. He stayed healthy. We heard all the narrative that he was going to be healthy this year and that he was going to, he's gotten bigger, but I just haven't seen it yet, man. He loses a lot of board battles. He loses battles for the puck. I will say he does look faster. Am I wrong in saying that?
A little bit stronger, a tiny bit faster, but he's a lot of turnovers and he's not strong enough.
He just isn't. He's not that guy. He's not that guy that's going to be able to go out and dig out a puck, and that's kind of been the knock on him. It was the same knock we had on Middlestat for a while until, again, he got bigger and he got stronger on the puck. But I think that's what's really hurting his game right now is just inability to just really bear down and be stronger on pucks.
I think the ideal line combination for him would be third line, McLeod as center, Zucker is left wing. McLeod better suited in a third line center role. Zucker, hard worker, gets to the tough areas, gets the puck to the net, and you have a healthy combination, a diversification of skill sets on one line. I think that would be your ideal third line. And if he still doesn't produce there, then you might have to sit him down for a little bit. But at the current moment, I think that's probably your best third line.
Does he have to go through waivers?
I don't know.
I have no idea how that works with Jack Quinn. Personally, I like that third line. The second line, I guess I'm assuming Kulik will be slotted for McLeod, right? That would be
so it would be Kulik with Benson and Tuck, I guess. Right?
No.
Or Benson and
well, who would move up if you're moving Tage back to center? Then who's taking that other winger spot? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean that's
that's a big question. I don't know.
This is where the depth comes in.
Yeah, man. I don't. It's so I'm lost. Like, I don't know about you. I'm completely lost.
Yeah, and that's tough. I mean, like, Greenway would come back. You've got Kozak. I guess you could have Kozak on the third line, right? Like, and you could have Quinn on the second line, maybe, and like give him better line mates. But like currently, his play doesn't justify him being on the second line. So
no,
I Kozak's play justifies him being on the third. Given how
I agree, I've liked Kozak again. he plays that style that Lindy loves, in and around the net. He gets into dirty areas. We say a lot, dirty areas. Playing with jam, all the fun buzzwords, but it's true. Like, he does play with those types of characteristics. So, I mean, do you put Noah Ostlund on the wing? Can he play wing? Like,
I'm sure he could, but I think
he's
he's probably best suited as a center. I mean, if you don't move Tage to center, you have your 4 centers potentially be Kulik, McLeod, Ostlund, and Krebs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously not ideal, but it's also not horrible. If McLeod starts to play a little bit better and starts to get used to that second line role and the responsibility that comes with it. But yeah, at this current juncture, given the percentages and the data that we have, it just doesn't seem like it's a great idea.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully, again, Lindy gets this figured out, because I don't know, man. Right now, they just seem like too much of a 2-line team. And
yeah, I think getting Greenway back is going to be helpful. And
will it though? Like, how much? How like
well, I
where?
think he's a
They
solid
line? What was that line he played well with? It was him, Zucker, and who? I think it was him. And,
Krebs.
I don't think it was Krebs. No,
I don't remember off the top of my head.
There was a line that he played very well with last season before the injury that, I think it was a third or the fourth line that, you could never get mad at. Again, hopefully the guy can stay healthy. That's not a big question. And Josh Norris needs to get back to.
Yeah, but a significant amount of time, like, you can't even think about him at this point.
I know it's.
I'm not even gonna think about him until 2026.
Oh, I can't believe our medical staff okayed that trade. That's incredible. That's incredible. So we touched on that. Zach Benson, another guy who's absolutely been on fire. Hasn't found the back of the net yet, but has was it 6 points in 3 games played? Is it right now?
Yeah.
He's been on fire. I know Johnny Lazarus, when we had him on, he expected him to take a huge step up. He mentioned his name specifically, but I don't know. Obviously, the playmaking ability is there. You saw the between the legs pass up to Kulik last night. I think once this guy starts finding the back of the net and starts finishing his chances, what is your ceiling? What is your floor for him points wise?
Well, at this current
he's
clip,
incredible.
At this current, he's not going to keep this up. Of course, like, there's no way he's going to keep up a 1.5 point per game pace. So, or no, it's two points per game at this point. Mm-hmm. I would say he could easily reach 60 points this season. And I think that would be a really good floor for him. I don't think it's out of the question to reach 70. I really don't. Last year he had, so it was rookie year. He had 30 in 71 games. Last year he had 28 in 75 games. He's 20 years old now. So he's in a different decade. But yeah, I think 60 is an acceptable floor, and he could be as many as 70 if he keeps this roll up. If he continues to play first line minutes, maybe even get some power play time. I don't think that's out of the question.
Yeah, you're right. I know we talked about it last night, but for those who didn't join us last night, Josh Doan obviously not out there in the final minute of the game. I don't want to beat this horse to death, but I'm going to right now. What is the play there from Lindy? Is it you need Darlene out there with Byram? Because again, the narrative has always been you want guys that are going to get to the net, be tough to play against, are going to stand tall in the blue paint and make it tough on the goalie. And him not being out there is a huge question mark if you ask me. Your thoughts on why Josh Doan? I know we touched on it last night, but your thoughts on Josh Doan not being out there in a very crucial moment of the game when arguably, I don't even think it's arguably, he's been your best, most consistent forward since the start of the season. Yeah,
I think it just at this point it really just comes down to experience, and I think I'm not saying it's justified, but that's probably the reason, right? Like,
yeah,
hasn't been on the team that long. They're going to play the guys that have been there, but if they're looking at this in a win now mode, which they said they are, they're going to look at the numbers and the data from these 6 games and be like, yeah, he's creating the most chances on the team. And he's the most impactful forward from both the eye test and the analytics test. And when those two tests match up and those two people can agree and cross the aisle, that's kind of an obvious, okay, let's put this guy on the first line and let's put him on the first power play unit and let's put him in situations where we need a goal. Point blank.
I guess I agree. I just hope Lindy, to your point, I hope he learned from that experience, because again, he can just score the greasy goals. And having guys like, and who was out there, it was Darlene, it was Byram, it was Tage, Tuck, Benson, and then who was the sixth?
I don't know off
Zucker,
the top of my head. It might have been Zucker. Yeah.
Might have been Zucker.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't need two defensemen out there. As much as I like Byram with Darlene, there's just no reason or justifiable reason to have Byram out there.
Yeah, he's not on the first power play unit. He doesn't need to be out there in a 6-on-5
with a game on the line. No. Before we get out of here, thoughts on Alex Lyon going forward? Again, I know it's a horse where we've been beaten to death. It's been a hot topic, but it's just still true. He gets Detroit tomorrow night. Who gets the first game of the Toronto series?
Alex Lyon.
Alex Lyon?
Like without a shred of a doubt.
All right. And then
he has given the team
is the first game at home? Is it in Buffalo?
Both are at home, yeah. So yeah.
No, I meant the first game of the Toronto series.
Yeah, also at home. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they go to Toronto the next night on Saturday.
A 2.55 and a 9.24 save percentage, not even including goals saved above expected and high danger chance opportunities and everything in between. He's given the team a chance to win all 6 games, and by far he has been the most consistent player on the team. So yeah, it's his net, and it will be until he loses it. And I'm number one really happy for him. Obviously, friend of the show, and we've heard him in interviews even aside from ours, and his journey in the NHL and everything that's led up to this. But this is his best chance to be a bell cow starting NHL goalie in his career, and he's taking advantage of it, which is really, really cool to see. Everything he said about it being a fragile little bird and a tube of toothpaste, and his approach and mentality about the position and about the game and about the team, everything else. It's really, really cool to see, and it's also not surprising. So really, really cool for him, and hope he keeps it up. But yeah, he gets tomorrow, he gets Friday, and then I think it'd be crazy if Colton Ellis got the game on Saturday.
I mean, again, it's one thing. Okay, it's one thing if it's not in a division game. If we're playing fucking, I don't know, Nashville, you know what I mean? Like some random, just non-divisional opponent, or we're playing the Islanders. But these division games are so important. I just can't see you putting a goalie in that cold. Never starting once an NHL game.
No, and I agree. It's just more so that, like, what's the Amerks schedule? Like, what's their plan with him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's probably more of a logistics question than it is a aptitude question. Because I think
with UPL there, they're going to have 3 goalies. They can probably afford to send one to Buffalo.
Yeah, also depends where they are. When he played last, I think a lot goes into this, right?
Yep. So October, so to start the season, they won. They had a home and home against. Actually, they had a home and home against the Marlies. 1-1, lost 1. 1 against the Utica. Lost 3-0 against the Syracuse Crunch, which I believe was a Georgiev game, if I'm not mistaken. Their next game is tomorrow night, again against the Crunch, Friday against Laval, and then Saturday against Cleveland. So Levi will already be in Canada on Friday.
Yeah, so he obviously, if this is their plan, he can't play that game.
Well, wait, hold on. Is it the fan? I don't know if it's in. I'm not sure if that game is in Rochester or not. But if it isn't, then that game will actually be he'll already be not too far away, for a call up if with the game being in Toronto on Saturday.
Yeah,
But
it's at home. It's at home
It
against
is at home.
the Laval Rocket on Friday.
Okay, so we'll be but still, it's not a far trip.
Yeah, it depends. So if he plays tomorrow night, then he wouldn't play Friday, and then if this is their plan, then he would play Saturday in Toronto. They wouldn't play on a
They wouldn't play him a back-to-back. No,
I guess if he doesn't play Friday, then we'll have our answer.
Yeah, if he's not, again, with that much time in between starts, Wednesday to Friday, if he's not playing Friday, you have to imagine.
They have a game in Cleveland Saturday too. You know what I mean? So if that's Luukkonen's rehab starts either Friday or Saturday,
Columbus.
That would make even more sense. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm hopeful, but you never know.
And that line last season was Zucker, McLeod, and Greenway. I guess they played very well together. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, Hurls?
Another game I'm excited to watch tomorrow night. Two young, exciting teams. Red Wings, good challenge, off to a great start. Revenge game for Alex Lyon. Hopefully it's a similar atmosphere to last Wednesday against the Ottawa Senators. And they come out strong. As we said, you got to get the crowd in it. You got to get pucks on net. Cam Talbot's played pretty well as of late, but I don't think he's a top 15 starting goalie in the NHL at this current moment, at least in my opinion. So you at least have an opportunity there. And it's important. If you lose, especially in regulation, you set yourself back and you decrease your chances of making the playoffs. Not significantly given how early it is, but all these games matter, as Alex Lyon said. Got to be desperate. Hopefully they come out desperate in the first period tomorrow night.
Before I give my final thought, I'm going to kick it over to just acknowledging our sponsors one more time. I got a quick commercial there from Extreme Discount Mattress.
We know with Skechers, your day starts with the comfort and support you need for your feet. And now that same innovation has made its way to the bedroom. Introducing the Skechers Sleep System. With cooling SketchKnit fabric, pressure-relieving Skechers Max cushioning, and our Skechers Posture Fit support system. Your day ends just like it began, with Skechers comfort that never stops. Skechers mattresses, exclusively at Extreme Discount Mattress, the lowest prices in the nation.
And also, we cannot forget Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room, with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, make sure you make it a Fatty Beer. Let them know, of course, that Two Goalies, One Mike sent you. And Impulse Physical Therapy of Western New York, located on Broadway in Depew, right next to the DNL Plaza and directly next to Catalyst Fitness. If you have any physical therapy needs, slip and fall at work, sports-related injuries, 5 stars, 5-star facilities, 5-star staff. Couldn't express that more. Go check them out. They're on Instagram, Facebook, and now Twitter at Impulse PTWNY _ on I believe it's _ on Instagram, but no _ on Twitter. So my final thoughts are this: 4 out of your next 5 games are against division opponents. I think out of those 8 points, I think you need to take home at least 5. That is my opinion. Get 5. You got a red hot Detroit team. I mean, some people might chalk that up to a loss with how good they've been, but you have a home and home against Toronto. I think you need at least take 3 points there. And then the other divisional game is against the Bruins. Again, I'm not too sure how well they've played this season, but I do know they had an emotional game tonight with Marchand coming back. So I don't know. That, to me, you need 5 out of 8 possible points there. And when it comes to Columbus, just go and beat the Blue Jackets. Yarmo revenge game, personally. So as always, guys, if you've enjoyed this content, if you're following along on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcasts, please make sure you're subscribed. Leave us a review. If you're listening or watching on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, hit the like button, follow us. YouTube, please make sure you're subscribed. Drop an elbow on that subscribe, the bell icon button. Hit the like. We appreciate all the support. And as always, let's go Sabres. Talk to you later. Below Leafs below.